Well, if it isn't the latest attempt to squeeze every last drop of performance out of a laptop that's probably already too hot to handle. Today, we're diving into Overclocking MSI's newest gaming laptop Raider 18HX from a channel called mryeester. Sounds fancy, doesn't it? I mean, who wouldn't want to turn their laptop into a glorified space heater? I can just picture it now. Gamers huddled around their laptops, sweat pouring down their brows while they try to figure out if they're playing a game or cooking dinner. So grab your thermal paste and your best pair of oven mitts, because we're about to find out if this laptop can handle the heat or if it's just another overpriced piece of tech that'll leave you more disappointed than a toad in a drought. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more of my delightful grumpiness. Let's get this show on the road before I croak from boredom.
The ability to overclock a laptop is surprisingly becoming more and more common, but just how far can you push them? After all, unlike overclocking a traditional PC, we don't have access to AIOs, a million different fans, or even the space for heat to dissipate.
The classic struggle of laptop overclocking. It's like trying to bake a cake in a toaster oven. Good luck getting that heat to escape. Without all the fancy cooling systems of a traditional PC, you're basically playing a game of how hot can I make this before it explodes. It's a miracle these laptops don't just turn into molten metal puddles. If they're not careful, they might end up as the world's first portable lava lamp.
Heat to dissipate. Instead, in a laptop, we have everything crammed inside of this tiny form factor with a couple of fans to do the cooling. So today, we're gonna see just how much more gaming performance we can unlock by overclocking a laptop with its built-in tools. And to do that, we're going to be using MSI's latest gaming laptop, the Raider 18HX AI. Out of the box with no settings adjusted, we have a Cinebench CPU multi-core score of 2111 and a GPU time spy benchmark of 19487. Now that we have some baseline benchmarks, it's time for some overclocking. But before I go and tinker with all the settings myself, let's go ahead and see how much performance we can unlock with MSI's AI robot chatbot thing. This is basically a way for us to communicate with the laptop in plain English and have it change certain settings. Let's start off with a softball. What are the specs of this laptop? Intel Core Ultra 9 285HX, which literally doesn't get any better than that. 64 gigs of DDR5 RAM plus a 4 terabyte PCIe Gen 5 SSD. Up to an RTX 5090, although this one has a 5080 inside of it. It's
Well, if that isn't a spec sheet that could make a toad weep with envy. 64 gigs of RAM and a 4 TB SSD, that's more storage than I have in my entire bog, and an RDX 5080, they're practically begging for a heat stroke. It's like they're trying to cram a sports car engine into a compact car. Let's just hope it doesn't turn into a mobile sauna when they start pushing those limits.
5080 inside of it. It's also rocking a 120 Hz 4K mini LED display as well in a laptop. Gaming laptops are getting so insane. These specs are nuts. Now let's see if this can further optimize for performance. Please optimize this laptop for the highest CPU and GPU performance. Oh, and it says I can adjust your system settings to prioritize performance. Would you like to proceed? Yes. If I can spell. Yes. Perfect. I'm now setting your system to performance mode for maximum speed and efficiency. Oh. Did it already do it? I suppose there should be a way for me to tell. Let me just go, oh, it did actually switch over to extreme performance in the MSI Center. So like, even if you didn't know that this existed, it did make the change, although it would have been nice if it like gave some sort of indication that it made the change. Let's just ask one more time if there's anything else it can do. Oh, it can also optimize memory and cooling settings. Yeah, do that too. Great, I'm now freeing up unused memory to improve performance and loading the optimal fan speed. Is this what PC troubleshooting in the future is gonna look like? Just talking with the laptop itself in plain English?
The future of PC troubleshooting, just chatting it up with your laptop like it's your best buddy. Next thing you know, we'll be having deep philosophical conversations about life choices and whether or not to upgrade to the latest GPU. I can already hear it now. Hey laptop, why do I keep making bad decisions? If only it could respond with some wisdom, instead of just cranking up the fan speed.
English would be kind of cool. Again, I don't really know exactly how to check to see if it did free up memory or change the fan speeds, but I think we'll trust it. With the robot changing those settings, let's go ahead and run a second benchmark. Let's actually specifically look at the GPU since this is a gaming laptop and that'll have more of an impact. 21462, that's what? That's a 10% increase from like the base state of this laptop. Let's tell the robot that it did a good job. Thanks. So now we're gonna do away with the Robo AI optimization and we're gonna take overclocking into our our own hands. And this is what I think is just kind of bonkers with these new gaming laptops. They have built-in overclocking capabilities. Previously, you'd have to go into BIOS and change a bunch of settings there or get third-party programs. Now, inside of the MSI Center, which comes preloaded on the computer, if you go under Extreme Performance, click this little settings icon, boom, we can actually adjust the core clock offset for the GPU. So this is where we're gonna see just how far we can push this. Now, like I said earlier in the video, we don't have access to desktop level cooling, but inside of this laptop in particular, MSI has included 2 fans and 7 heat pipes, including one that actually is specifically made to attach to the SSD. But
the wonders of modern engineering. 2 fans and 7 heat pipes. That's more cooling than I have in my entire bog. They're practically trying to create a mini air conditioning unit in there. But let's be real. If they're relying on that setup to keep things cool while overclocking, it's still a gamble. One wrong move, and this laptop could turn into a hot potato faster than you can say thermal throttling.
But since we know we are going to be overclocking, let's go ahead and adjust the fan curves first. You can see here we do have pretty minute control of how fast the fan should be spinning based on certain temperatures. But for the sake of pushing this as far as it can go, let's just set both fans to run at 150% speed all the time. Ideally, that'll keep the computer as cold as possible for as long as possible. And we should hear them spin up right now. Yep, okay, they're spinning. Oh yeah, the GPU is definitely coming down. These fans are blasting. That's exactly what we want though, the coldest environment as possible. 37 degrees. All right, we're just gonna go ahead and get started by setting this to plus 100 megahertz frequency. And if we save that, oh, you don't even have to restart it. So technically our laptop is overclocked right now, but let's go ahead and jump into the benchmark to see what it results in with that extra clock speed. All right, moment of truth. Did our overclocking actually result in increased performance?
The suspense is palpable. Did we just turn this laptop into a performance beast, or is it still just a glorified paperweight? If this overclocking actually works, we might just be witnessing the birth of a gaming legend, or a fiery disaster. Let's hope it's the former. Because I'm not ready to see this thing go up in smoke.
Show me what you got, Raider 18. 22,036. We broke the 22K mark. Wait.
Well, would you look at that? Breaking the 22K mark is no small feat for a laptop. It's like watching a toad leap over a log. Unexpected but impressive. This thing might actually be worth the hype after all. Just goes to show, sometimes pushing the limits pays off. Let's just hope it doesn't end up regretting it later.
Wait, that also beats the world's best Time Spy recorded score with a 5080 laptop GPU and an Intel Core Ultra 9 285HX.
Oh, that's a cherry on top. Beating the world's best score with that setup, that's like finding a rare mushroom in the woods. Unexpected and delightful. It seems this laptop isn't just a pretty face, it's got some serious muscle behind it. If it can keep this up without turning into a molten puddle, we might just have a winner on our hands. Who knew overclocking could lead to such glory?
HX. And the laptop seems stable. I mean, that's one of the concerns with overclocking is that you push it to the point where it becomes unstable and starts crashing all the time. And you know what? We can push this even further. Let's go ahead and push this to a plus 200 megahertz core clock offset. Let's run this benchmark one more time. 22,110. Okay.
Well, look at that. A score of 22,110. That's like finding a rare gem in the muck. It seems this laptop is not just holding its own but thriving under pressure. If it keeps this up, it might just earn a spot in the Hall of Fame for gaming laptops. Just remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Let's hope it doesn't overheat and turn into a toasty snack.
110. Okay, so that is an improvement, albeit a marginal one. So it looks like we might be getting diminishing returns with these overclocks, but this is just extra performance for free. Although I guess it is using more power probably. And with that, we just set a new world best with this overclock.
Now that's the cherry on top. Setting a new world best with that overclock. That's like winning the lottery in the gaming world. It's impressive to see this laptop not just keeping up but actually leading the pack. If it can maintain that performance without turning into a hot mess, we might just have a true champion on our hands. Bravo MSI.
This overclock. There's also a way to increase the VRAM clock offset. So should we just max that out as well? Yeah, let's just max it out and see what happens. Well, let's go ahead and run the test one final time to see what we can produce. Oh, we did actually improve the score again, but by 7 points.
7 points. Well, every little bit counts, I suppose. It's like trying to squeeze the last drop of juice from a lemon. Sometimes you just have to accept that it's not going to be a flood. But hey, a win is a win, even if it's just a tiny one. At least they're pushing the limits and getting something out of it. Let's just hope they don't end up with a lemon of a laptop in the process.
Points. So very marginal, but still, hey, good enough to beat our previous world best with this configuration. All right, let me turn down these fans. That's a 13.5% increase of performance from our base state to our maxed overclock state.
A 13.5 increase, now that's a solid boost. It's like finding an extra fly in your soup. Unexpected, but certainly makes things a bit more interesting. This laptop has proven it can handle the heat and deliver some real performance gains. If only all tech upgrades were this straightforward. Now, let's hope it doesn't start sounding like a jet engine while it's at it.
Clock state, meaning that's just
Well, we've just survived the wild ride of overclocking MSI's newest game machine, the Raider 18HX AI. If you thought this video was just going to be a hot mess, you'd be mostly right, though I begrudgingly admit it had its merits. From the very start, we were treated to the reveal of this laptop's specs, which had a toad like me getting a tad green with envy. I half expected the thing to start oozing molten metal with its fancy 64 GB of RAM and RTX 5080. Talk about preparing for failure. But who knew you could coax a score of over 20 to zake out of a laptop without it turning into a fiery disaster? Remarkable, though I'm still skeptical about whether it was just a fluke or a sign of true gaming prowess. So, did our expectations from the intro hold up? Surprisingly, yes. This contraption seems to have more potential than I initially thought, though I wouldn't be surprised if it melts down during the next gaming marathon, and as for my grumpy old self, I might almost be impressed. Remember, if you're going to stress test your laptop, just don't forget your oven mitts, or you'll be in for a crispy surprise. Now, if you enjoyed this cynical commentary and want more doses of delightful grumpiness, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe. It's been real. Now go before I turn into a hot potato myself.